What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Today I have a very special guest, Vince Palko. You might know him from his company Adtoons. He does a lot of visual graphics, creates some pretty amazing graphics. But today we're going to talk about using kind of visual communications in your marketing and how you talk to customers and how you tell the story of who you are and what you do. Welcome to Real Estate Investing Secrets. We're all looking for freedom and the opportunity to live better, more fulfilling lives. But most of us were trained our entire lives to work for someone else and chase their dreams. How can we use real estate investing as a vehicle to achieve financial freedom? My life is dedicated to answering your real estate investing questions and helping you build an investing business that allows you to change your life and the world around you, and to enable you to turn your dreams of financial freedom into a reality. My name is Mike Hambright from FlipNerd.com, and your questions get answered here on the Real Estate Investing Secrets Show. Hey, Vince, welcome to the show.
Mike, thanks so much for having me. Really excited to be with you and your audience and share kind of some tips and tricks on the subject of story selling, but visual story selling. So super pumped to be here.
Yeah, it's a little side note for people is I've known of Vince and I've known of your company Adtoons for many years. From some digital marketing realms and stuff. And we happened to be at an event together about 6 months ago. I guess it was about 6 months ago, roughly. Corey Peterson's event, multifamily event, the Big Kahuna, for somebody that know Corey by the Big Kahuna instead of his real name. But anyway, you happen to be there. You're also buddies with Corey, and you created this amazing kind of graphic of, you've done some really cool graphics for Corey and just kind of telling the story of financial freedom through like one big graphic, which was really awesome. And it just got us talking about this idea of coming on the show and talking about, visually telling your story and visually communicating to sellers or prospects or people that we touch in our business, as opposed to, that's pretty rare, as opposed to kind of the traditional way of just letters and phone calls and all this stuff. And so it's pretty cool. So I'm excited to learn more about it today.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And if you recall that day at Corey's, I wasn't just taking notes. I was creating visual notes because that's how I hear information. And so that's kind of my superpower, if you will.
Yeah.
And really, had a great experience there and learning all about kind of real estate investing from him. So,
yeah. For those of you that listen, it was amazing. Like all of us are filling notebooks and writing notes the traditional way. And Vince has like one piece of paper, and he's creating a cartoon strip almost from what he was learning there. It was just like kind of blew our minds. So, but the truth is and I'm a very visual person. I like graphics. If it pertains to numbers and other things, I'm just very visual, right? I mean, a lot of us, you can obviously tell by the fact that social media sites and stuff like that get way more attention when there's video involved, right, than there is just written text these days. And so it just makes sense, but it's something that we don't do a tremendous amount of in terms of our lead generation and in terms of how we talk to, in our business, meeting with distressed single family house sellers or other investors that we want to do business with. Like, we don't really speak that language, but it's pretty cool when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, my business Adtoons, for those that aren't familiar with that, it's been around since 2005. Back then, I had to educate people on why they would want to use a cartoon. So I wrote the book, The Art of Selling Using Cartoons, in 2006, because everyone would say, Vince, my business is too serious. Why would I ever want to use a cartoon? And there's many reasons for that, and we'll cover off a lot of those today. But the essential gist of it is you have to connect with people. You have to make yourself different from all the people competing in your marketplace, and cartoons do that really easily. On top of the fact that they can communicate a value proposition very simply. We had one guy that was investing, and he was telling us about this complex story of how he wanted to leave Wall Street, and he wanted to start this coaching thing, and how it was going to be a hub and spoke approach where he would make a trade, then everyone else would follow him. And we took a 30-minute conversation, condensed it down to 2 minutes, and he's still using it on his website to communicate kind of his offer. And so that's the power of visuals and cartoons. And you can get away with a lot of things with cartoons that you don't typically get or can present in live action or PowerPoint presentations. And so that makes it fun as well.
Sure. Well, Vince, before we go too much further, tell us your background. How did you get into it? You obviously have you were born a creative person. I assume this isn't something that you just decided to do one day. This is something you've been doing for a long time. But tell us kind of your background and how you got into this space.
Yeah. So my mother is an art teacher. She's been teaching art for my entire life, and I grew up with two passions. One was sports and football, and the other was art. And I grew up in an environment where really I could thrive to do both. And went on to play in college and overseas in football. And along the way, graduated with a design degree, but along the way also using visuals to help myself achieve more on the football field. I'm still in the Hall of Fame at Bowling Green and St. Bede, my high school, to give a few shameless plugs to those universities. But, along the way, visuals have always been a part of goal setting for me, communicating with others. And really, I've always had a job. Like the first time I went to Germany to play, the owner said, "I hear you're an artist. Would you like a job in our marketing firm?" And I'm thinking to myself, here's where they invented the Bauhaus of design. Sure, why not? So I play football during the day and do design and art. And then we'd have practice at night and then games on the weekend. And then I came back to the States, got another job working as an apprentice, as an artist for a company that created learning tools. And that's the foundation behind all this, because they would just throw on our desks all these complex, dry, dull business information, and you had to turn them into colorful pictures. And so that's really been my passion. And now I do more of the managing of everything now, but there are times when I'll get out pens and pencils and doodle and help with storyboards and things of that nature. But, the visuals and cartoons and illustrations have, like you said, I've been doing this my whole life. But I also think that, we're all born artists, because I went to speak to my daughter's kindergarten class many years ago. And I said, how many people here are artists? And before I said taste in artist, everyone raised their hand. And then after time, if you were to go back to that same class, there'd be less hands being raised. And even a few years after that, even less. But we're all born creative geniuses, I feel. And we all have the power to take a pen and doodle and create and communicate with your audience so that it differentiates you and it communicates clearer. When someone looks at a piece of paper, just a napkin in front of you with little doodles on it. So that's my background. And have a lot of fun doing what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad you're here. So let's talk a little bit about, one other thing that we've kind of found is there's a lot of people. We're doing video right now, right? There's a lot of people that have podcasts and do shows and are not afraid to pull out. It's easier than ever to create a video with cell phones, right? As you can just pop it out and do a video. And that's the easy button for some people. It's like, man, I don't have to write all this. I can just say it in a video, right? But they're often not professionally done. And then there's this whole other subset of people that, for example, my wife hates being on camera. She's more of an introvert. She would rather sit down and write a long blog and pull in a couple pictures that she took with her camera or whatever to display things visually, right? And so there's these people that are, maybe more introverted, don't want to be on camera, and maybe not that kind of cartoons and explainer videos and stuff like that, graphical explainer videos are only for introverts, right? But that is in some ways kind of the easy button for somebody that would prefer to not be on camera themselves, right?
Sure. I mean, we hear that a lot from folks that, I've got a big Italian nose and I don't want anyone reacting to, my face on camera, or I have an accent and I don't want that to hinder them from hearing the message. And so that's pretty common with us. And I think those videos are perfect for once people are into your world, into your funnel, building rapport with them, but to grab their attention and build a brand with what you're offering, what your company's all about, and what makes you unique and different. These Adtoons do an amazing job to just communicate that on the front end, and then once they're in, you can start building the rapport with, more personalized videos.
Right. And if done right, this stuff can be pretty catchy, right? It can stand out from. I know there was a time, maybe 5 or 6 years ago when a bunch of people started jumping on the bandwagon of the whiteboard kind of drawing stuff, right? And I don't really see much of that anymore. And then there was always, of course, like a huge quality difference between some of those services that were maybe out there, obviously. But talk about like I guess kind of the life, where that visual storytelling is in the life cycle of marketing, if you will.
Yeah, I think in our circles where marketing is huge, they've been around for a long, long time. The amazing thing, Mike, is when I go to trade shows in different niches and different markets, people are like, I've never seen this before. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
It's been out for like 7-8 years. But, it is, if you're going, the unique factor is important, but the other thing is being able to tell a story visually that is paramount. That's, it's universal. It speaks to many. We're doing one project that we're translating, into German, into Mandarin, and, we're not really changing many of the graphics in the visuals. We're just putting in, new audio for the actual narration. But
right.
The bottom line is, I think what's kept these around so long, the longevity that they have, is being able to tell, like I said, a 30-minute conversation in 2 minutes and get someone excited to hear more. And that's really I think Dan Kennedy said it best. He said, your job is to create, when someone comes to you, is to create thirst, right? It's to get them to take the next step. It's not to quench their thirst, it's to make them more thirsty. So when you're drawing a picture, we've done split tests where we've done a Saturday morning cartoon, fully colorized, and we've done the black and red, black and white approach. In all of our split tests, it's been interesting because the black and the red, black and white, has out-converted the cartoon. And I think there's something magical about the hand telling the story. The viewer wants to see what's coming next. So as a marketer, it's a marketer's dream because we can share our story. We can share whatever it is that we need to communicate with that audience, and we know they're going to sit around and listen to it. And so we've done videos 2.5 minutes long, all the way up to 15 minutes long. Now, not everyone's going to watch the 15-minute video, but if we can get them from watching 0 minutes to 10 minutes, that's success. And we can cut down the sales cycle time by them getting excited, sharing it with others, and we're not doing a thing. We just have this message out there, creating interest. So that's really the magic behind kind of what we do.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about like when we buy, the way that I teach in our coaching program and the way that we actually run our business is we meet with sellers directly. We market to them in a number of different ways, online, direct mail, a number of different ways to kind of get them to respond to us that they do have a house for sale and they're looking to sell it at a discount. It really is the customer we're looking for. And, when we meet with them, ultimately, they might be pulling out a legal pad and kind of showing, well, if we offered you this, here's what you would walk away with, or it's very number centric, right? And it's often very little of that. It's usually just conversational, right? There have been times in the past where we've tried to use some visual cues of like, well, here's how you would compare if you sold your house the traditional way, if you fixed it up versus this. But it's very clear that there are people like me, right, that are very visual based. Like if you wrap something in a story, or if you wrap it in some graphics and I can understand it a little bit better, then it's easier than like, here's a sheet full of numbers necessarily, right? So talk about like but probably not everybody is that way. So talk about like maybe who that would appeal to, the type of person, and how you could know that sitting across the kitchen table or across a living room from somebody that you just met. How would you know whether they're receptive to that type of communication versus other ways?
Yeah. So, in my experience as not only an artist, but as a business owner, every time I sit down from someone, across from someone, and I take out my pen and I say, we could set up your story like this, this, and this. There's a magnetic, hypnotic, response from them, and that they're going to listen to what I have to share. And the best example of this is if you go to a theme park and you see those artists sketching, everyone kind of crowds around the artist because they want to see how that's going to turn out.
Right.
The secret behind all that is you don't even have to know how to draw to be able to command that attention, because in general, people are amazed if you can draw a straight line or a stick figure. And so there are certain personalities, and you can kind of sense if like what you're drawing, they want to get straight down to brass tacks, and then you just pull back. But if you'll know when they're sucked into the conversation and you can talk as slow as you want, and let's just picture you in the future in your new home, and you're just drawing simple boxes with a person next to that house, or things of that nature. So you have to have good social skills to see how well that information is conveying. But if you do have someone that's visual like yourself, and I always tell people, I've done these workshops where I ask people, how many here are, when I say the words pink elephant, how many here see the words actually written out, P-I-N-K elephant, versus how many see this? And I draw a little sketch of a pink elephant or an elephant on a circus ball. And 9 times out of 10, everyone raises their hand when I point to the elephant on the board. And so they're probably few and, well, that's just my humble opinion. But I think being able to create rapport with someone with picking up a pencil and drawing out kind of your value proposition, and I'm not talking elaborate pictures, I'm talking simple boxes. We are going to do this for you, and you can put that in a box. We're going to do this for you, and we're going to do that for you. And when they see that laid out in front of them, I'm guaranteeing you no one else is doing that in your marketplace.
Yeah, it's the way to stand out for sure, yeah. So talk a little bit more about, because I think, like, I definitely cannot draw characters or anything like that. I mean, certainly not quickly. Like, it would take a tremendous amount of time and a lot of redoing and all that stuff. So, and I know that's not necessarily what you're talking about. I mean, there are people that have that gift, right? But you're saying, like, it could be something as simple as boxes, like you're here and you want to get there, or it could be a stack of, like, here's a stack of cash versus how high it is. Or, I mean, it could be just visual cues, right? Not necessarily characters in cartoons.
Sure, it's simple. It's simple images like this or this, and maybe I should take a so you can see it better. But it's let me give you an example. Here's just the simple kind of, it's like cave paintings, very simple icons and arrows. But when I map out for people what they get with me, I'm just going to draw this out really quickly. I'll start with the main video in the middle, and then there's a 50-second highlight trailer, and then there's an ebook, and then you get screenshots of all the art. Essentially that's all I'm drawing for people, and they instantly get all the work we're putting into it, all the value that they're going to receive. And anyone can draw a box, anyone can draw a line, anyone can draw an arrow. And that's the secret to my coaching when I'm coaching individuals on how to draw, is do it confidently, because you're going to wow the other person and really pull them in. But if you're kind of like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing here, and they're going to sniff that out of the, faster than anything.
Sure, yeah.
This is what we provide for folks. And you draw it, and maybe you have to practice it just like you practice certain closing techniques or objections. You're going to practice it. I'm not saying you're going to do it perfectly, but that becomes part of your repertoire. That becomes part of your toolbox that you can pull out when you want to really separate yourself from the others out there competing with you.
Yeah, it could be like, here's the 3 easy ways we can help you today. 1, 2, 3, and you just write a keyword there, right? Like quick and easy, close on time. Just it's the same things that we say. It's just visually showing it, right? Writing it out.
Yeah. And give me an example of like a goal that someone might have that your audience might be working with them, and I'll draw up a quick doodle. Like, let's say, are these other investors that they're working with, or is it?
So let's just say it's a seller that's inherited a house and they live across the country, and they don't want to have to fly across the country and manage vendors in a far off land, or may not even have the money to do it. So they want the easy button a lot of times, right? Is just, how do I make this easy without feeling like they're leaving money on the table? It's like a balance between, how much more they have to put into it and how much they have to deal with it versus just making it go away.
Yeah. So here we got first image.
For those of you that are listening, Vince is drawing some pictures here, so you might have to go to flipnerd.com and look up this video if you want to see the images. But go ahead, Vince.
So here's the distressed house and the seller.
Yeah.
And then here's the easy button below it. They hit that and they make the house go away.
Yeah. This is using stick figures and poof clouds that made a stick figure house go away. Yeah, that's easy. That's easy enough.
And don't you think anyone could do that?
Yeah, I think I could even do that.
Yeah.
And the truth is once you develop a couple of scenarios, you're using these things over and over again when you're talking to a seller.
Exactly.
It's usually, hey, we're going to make this easy for you. We're going to do this fast, and we're going to remove your problems. And that's usually a pretty common, depending on how you say it, but for the most part, it's the same general, maybe graphic over and over again.
Sure. And you can even, like when we're talking about story selling and visual story selling, you can even talk about someone that you helped, get rid of that house in a month or whatever that is. But,
Right.
Other success stories that you've had, you can build that in. Well, let's look at what I did for Jane and Bobby. They had a house, they had to get this thing sold because they were, I don't know. But you can definitely fold that into a story that makes it even more powerful.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, one of the other things that we believe and that we teach is just the consistency in your marketing, consistent message, right? And folks could use explainer videos that are kind of cartoon based or graphical based on their website. You could carry that forward into your direct mail, and you could carry that forward into the living room when you go meet with people, right? So just this consistency across the board of it's really kind of branding, right? And so talk about the importance. I mean, obviously we don't talk too much about the importance of that, but talk about maybe some kind of ways that you could do this consistently across the board.
Sure. Yeah. So the biggest thing is automatizing your lead flow so you can focus on other elements or just hang out with your family. But to get those leads flowing into an email where you can pick and choose who you want to work with based on what they fill out. I mean, that's the creme de la creme, right?
Yep.
And so essentially you can do that in many different ways. I don't know what your audience does if they do more direct mail, but you can put cartoons that grab attention, jump off the stack of mail using cartoons, and you can, again, do funny, silly ones that really grab their attention and create personality in your marketing. You can do that in a video. I could show you a sample of that. And you can do that on your website. You can use it as lead traffic on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And then here's the magic bullet, the secret one. It's a business card with a video on it.
Oh,
so
boy.
you could go in and now these are a little more costly, but it's a DVD and a TV and a business card. So
that's amazing.
You want to talk about really creating the wow factor when you sit down with someone and say, hey, Jim, why don't you take a look at this 2-minute video? Let's look clear how we're unique and different. And or you can send them out in direct mail. And if they give it back to you, they'll get another bonus, but you kind of recycle them. But yes, consistency, continuity across all marketing platforms to drive them into your funnel, drive them into your website, get leads, start the conversation with that. And then once you have them, then that's a whole different series of kind of what we were just talking about with using visuals.
Sure. For some of you that are visual, and those of you that are listening, which probably a lot of you, I encourage you to go to his Adtoons website and just check out he has lots of examples there of what these things are like, and it'll probably spur some ideas in your mind of like how you might be able to utilize that in your business. So.
Yeah, we've got a YouTube channel as well, and you can see we've got it separated out into different playlists. It's ADTOONS, and essentially you can see like real estate videos, investing videos, and things of that nature. So you can check out all the different samples, get some ideas of how you might position yourself.
Yeah, and we've talked about using this with sellers, but you could use it in everything. You do raising money or from other private investors maybe, or networking with other investors. And, there's always, we all know the guy that like every time you see him, he's got a bow tie on. Like there's people that kind of like branded themselves almost as a caricature of a character of some sort, right? And so, there's probably plenty of, and of course we know some huge brands too that that use cartoon characters or even real actors, right, to kind of brand themselves. And I think there's some unique opportunities to do this with graphics and cartoon type stuff that we're talking about here.
Yeah, Geico is the number one example with that silly little lizard that gets me laughing.
Geico, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I'm the godfather of cartoon marketing, and I'll go into these, trade shows, and they'll say, "Hey, Godfather," and I'll turn like, "Oh yeah, that's me."
Yeah.
So it is a fun way to, and that's other services that we provide. Creating almost a moniker or just another character to you, because it's going to stand out and grab attention.
Yeah, for sure. So Vince, if folks wanted to learn more about your products and some of the stuff that you're doing, where's a good place for them to go?
Yep. If they go to www.adtoons.com, or they can shoot us an email at marketing@adtoons.com to get more information. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, YouTube. We've got a small following there too. Would love to share some of those, samples and, give them ideas to kind of how your audience might present themselves.
Yeah. We'll add the links in the show notes down below here as well for those of you that weren't able to write it down. So awesome. Well, everybody that's joined us today, thanks for joining us. If you have not subscribed to the show yet, we're coming up on 5.5 years, actually a little over 5.5 years of doing this show. And it's been a lot of fun. I'll tell you what drives me and keeps me going forward with this is your feedback, your subscriptions to our channel on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, YouTube, and of course you can watch over 1,500 videos that we've created across different podcasts over the years on flipnerd.com. You can get access to everything there. So Vince, thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
Michael, thank you so much for having me. Real pleasure to be with you today and
absolutely
sharing with your audience.
Awesome. Everybody, thanks for joining us again today. We'll see you on the next show. Thanks for listening to today's show. There are 3 ways I can help you start or grow your real estate investing business. If you're a new investor and just getting started, the Flip Nerd Investor Coaching Program is the most effective program in America. I've been coaching and mentoring new real estate investors for 10 years, and my students have literally purchased thousands and thousands of properties. Many of them started with little to no experience at all. Our program is a paint-by-numbers program where we tell you exactly what to do week by week to make sure that you don't get distracted on your way to results. We show you how to build a real business, not just create another job for yourself. New memberships are limited. You can learn more and apply or schedule a call with me and my team at flipnerd.com/coaching. If you're an experienced investor doing a minimum of 10 deals a year, up to 500 deals a year or more, or have a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio already, you should check out our powerful Investor Fuel Real Estate Investor Mastermind. Over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors are members, and it's not uncommon for our members to 2 to 5x their business just from getting around other members at Investor Fuel. At Investor Fuel, each of us are business advisors to one another's businesses, but we don't stop at business. We focus heavily on becoming better people and living fuller lives. If you're looking for fuel for your business or fuel for your life, please check out investorfuel.com. Applications and interviews are required as most investors are not a fit for our community. Please learn more at investorfuel.com. If you're not ready for coaching or masterminds but eager to start learning more about investing, please join our private Facebook group by visiting flipnerd.com/Facebook. New members get access to free training from us right here at flipnerd.com, and it's a community to safely ask your questions, a great place to get started. Simply go to flipnerd.com/Facebook to request your access today.